Hello everyone, welcome to LICD lecture 19A. Today's topic is simple positive peak detector and we will see its limitations. Okay, so let us start with the topic. So first of all, let us understand what is the concept of peak detector. Let's say you have a waveform which is varying with time, not periodically. It's changing its peak, it's going down, it's going up. So what does the peak detector circuit should do? So peak detector circuit should detect the peak of this irregular shape waveform, right? So let me describe in words. So it detects the peak of the input signal over a period of time. So my output should detect the peak of my input. Okay. So in this case, as the example you see over here, this is a positive peak detector concept. Okay, where your pink color waveform is the output and my gray color is my input. So now we have discussed the concept of peak detector circuit. We will discuss the simplest peak detector circuit with ideal diodes. Now, first of all, what's an ideal diode? So ideal diode is the diode who doesn't require any voltage to turn on. Means if you just apply a voltage greater than just apply a voltage between anode and cathode which is just greater than the anode voltage is just greater than cathode voltage, the diode will turn on, right? So that's what is called as ideal diode, or we can say that the VD on, that is the turn on voltage of this ideal diode, should be 0. Okay, so what does this simple peak detector do? So how this circuit will work? Okay, so this circuit will detect the positive peak of the input signal, that is for sure. And input signal need not be always a sine wave. Basically, see, we normally apply sine wave to the circuits, but that sine wave may not be exactly a sine wave. It can be an input from a sensor. Now sensor data may not be looking like a periodic sine wave signal, right? It can be any irregular shape, or it can be a modulated signal, or these signals may not be even periodic. So but somehow we want their peaks to be detected. Fine. So let us understand how this circuit can detect a peak of the input signal. So let me just reduce this and keep the diagram open for all the time, and I'll explain from this PDF. Okay, so refer this the circuit onto your right hand side. Okay, I think this is visible now. Okay, so let us start the analysis. Let me reduce this. Okay, I need to increase this one. Okay, so let us understand this circuit, which can detect the peak of the input signal. So first of all, we will assume that the diode D1 is an ideal diode and there are no charges on this capacitor. That means this capacitor, the charges stored on this capacitor at time t equal to 0 are 0. So it is not P-charge at all. Okay, so so let us start. So as V input increases from 0, so that means V in is greater than 0. What will happen to this diode? The diode will start conducting. So when the diode starts conducting, the capacitor charges and it will charges via V in, D1, C1 and ground, right? So when the capacitor can charge up to what value? So let's say V in is increasing. So this is a scenario number 1. So V in is increasing, and it reached the peak value. So the capacitor can charge to the peak value of the input voltage. So it will keep on charging. But now suddenly what happens that the input peak has reached. Now the input, it start to decrease. So whenever input is start to decrease, what will happen? So after my just wait a sec. Let me just adjust this properly. So my scenario number 1 is what? My scenario number 1, what happens is capacitor charges instantaneously with the input and reaches the peak. Now from there on, what will happen? Let us consider. So once the output has reached the peak value of the input starts reducing. Okay, so again the input starts reducing. So this will make the diode D1 reverse bias. Okay, because here right now, what is the situation? The situation is V in has reached the peak. I mean, the output has also reached the peak, right? Output would, let's say the peak value is 5 volts and my input is also at 5 volts. Now suddenly what happens? My input has gone down from 5 to 4.9. That means my cathode voltage is greater than the anode voltage now. This is at 5 and this is at 4.9. That will immediately make the diode D1 off. Okay, so that's what we have written over here. So in scenario number 2, this is what will happen. When the output has reached the peak and input starts reducing, the diode D1 will be getting off. And we know that whenever when the diode is off, it will behave as it will offer a very high resistance, which will be treated as an open circuit. So what will happen is now suddenly capacitor is alone. It doesn't have a discharge part. So the only option for the capacitor is to hold this charge, right? So it will hold this charge. So this is what will happen. In scenario number 2, since the diode is off, the capacitor will have no option, but it has no discharge part, right? From where it will discharge. So basically, for capacitor to discharge, it should have a closed loop across it. Here we don't have it. So what it will do, it will hold the charge along with it itself. And until when it will hold the charge? Until the Vin is again greater than the last peak. Okay. So again, when Vin increases, the capacitor starts again charging to the instantaneous value of the input, and again it reaches the peak. Now, whenever the V out is again reached a new peak, and when Vin starts reducing, again my diode D1 will be off. Okay, so what will happen? Whenever my diode D1 is off, again my capacitor cannot discharge, so it will hold discharge. So this process will continue until we get another higher peak. So this will be a straight line. The Vout will be holding it. I mean, the capacitor will hold this value until a new peak comes along. Okay, so that's what it is shown in scenario number 4. So I think that's what we have written it over here also. So this is the way this simple peak detector will detect the positive peak of any randomly irregular shaped input waveform. Okay, fine. So now what we will do is we will see what we are going to discuss next. Oh, we have LT Spice. We have reflection spot. So in the reflection spot, we'll move away from the PDF and we'll go into LT Spice and simulate this circuit with a practical diode. Now, before going to practical diode, let us discuss what do you mean by this practical diode and what the effect will be. We have discussed so far ideal diode, right? So we have discussed ideal diode. So ideal diode is the one whose VD on is 0. That means it will not require any voltage. Even if anode voltage is greater than cathode voltage by even 0.1, it will turn on. Okay, but a practical diodes are a little different. So before going to the reflection spot, let us consider this. So entire functioning of the circuit remains the same. But only thing is, in earlier analysis, we have assumed that the diode D1 is ideal diode, correct? But practically, there will be a diode drop, meaning this diode will be a practical diode, correct? So it will require some voltage to overcome, and only external voltage has to overcome the diode voltage, then only the current will start flow. So that is called as the turn on, the cut-in voltage of the diode. So means if you apply over here anode voltage greater than cathode voltage by about 0.7, then only this diode will turn on. So that is a limitation of, that is what this feature of this practical diode is. So what will happen? What should happen? So it should work as a peak detector, but the output will be slightly less than the expected value. So here the output, the pink color, the output should reach the peak, but it will not reach the peak. It will be a little bit. Let me just show you. Yeah. So the green color is with the practical diode and the pink color is with the ideal diode, and my gray color is my Vin. So basically, what will happen is the initially I have already explained all. Let me just clarify it once more time. Okay, so this is my circuit. And then this is my practical diode. Okay, So as soon as my Vin, whenever my Vin crosses zero point 0.7, let's consider VD on to be zero point 0.7. So whenever my Vin crosses zero point 0.7, then only it will start charging towards the, I mean, then the capacitor will, then the diode will turn on and the capacitor will start, you know, the capacitor will start charging towards the peak value. But whenever it tries to goes towards the peak value, it cannot reach the peak. It will reach 0.57 less than peak. Okay, and again, whenever the voltage, I mean, the input is reducing below this value, I mean, below this peak value minus zero point 0.7, minus VD1, we can say, then what will happen? Again, the diode will become off, and when the diode will become off, the capacitor will hold the charge. So that is what is happening over here. And I mean, the capacitor will again start charging when a new peak has come, and again the capacitor will try to reach the peak, but it cannot. It will be one diode start because the diode will require around VD1 to start with. So this process will continue. Again, the input has decreased. My diode D1 is off. Capacitor will hold the charge. So it will hold the charge, but around VD1 less. So that's what will happen with the practical diode, which you have described over here. I mean, you all can go through it. So the functionality of the circuit of detecting the peak to, I mean, the peak value of the input signal remains the same. So it will give, it is basically a good approximation, actually, we can say, of a peak detection. It's not exact value, but it's a good approximation. Okay, it is a terrible approximation whenever the input amplitudes are quite less. So as you know that this simple peak detector cannot detect a very small amplitude, inputs. So this will fail terribly whenever my input is of, I mean, my peaks are very, very small in amplitude. Okay, so there we might have to go for a different circuit. So the major limitation of the circuit is that the output voltage is one diode below the actual output. So that's what the limitation is. This is the limitation. This gap between the the actual output with ideal diode and a practical diode. This is the problem actually. Okay, and this problem becomes severe when my input peaks are comparable to VD1 value. Okay, so we will go to our reflection spot actually now. So we'll build a simple peak detector and analyze it. We'll consider V in as 5 volts peak, frequency to be 1000 hertz. Diode D1 we will select it as 1 and 4148, and C1 will be 470 nanofarad. Okay, now let me reduce this and open up the LT Spice. Okay, so the circuit is already made for your reference. I mean, you can see this is my circuit. Diode D1 is 1 and 4148. Capacitor C1 is 470 nanofarad. And here we are not connecting this resistor. Don't bother about it. It's not connected. And the frequency is 1000 hertz. So now let's simulate this circuit. So I am plotting my V in, and here across the capacitor is my V out. Okay, so is this as predicted? Yes. As you can see, it is as per the prediction. Yeah, you can see over here. So it's actually 0.7 around 0.7 volts dot. So it is trying to reach the peak, but it will cannot because the diode drop is around nearby zero point 0.7 volts for silicon diode. So I mean we have considered to be a sine wave, but actually in reality it need not be actually a sine wave. It can be a sensor data which is feeded to your which is applied as input to your peak detector circuit, and your peak detector circuit to detect the peak. And okay, so this is how we verify this in LT Spice. If you notice carefully, this is slightly increasing in the if I let me expand it, yeah, slightly increasing. That's fine because of the capacitor that is going to happen. Okay, now let us go back to the PDF and let us see what we have to discuss next. Okay, so now we discuss a practical circuit. Actually, this circuit is useless because we are not connecting it to something. I mean, the peak detector itself, it's not used. It's used. It's connected somewhere, or something is connected to it at the output. And we have a practical, peak detector circuit with a practical diode and a resistor. So basically, what you mean with conventionally, we are saying that there can be a load which can be connected to the simple peak detector circuit. So what will be the effect of this resistor now? Now think, before going to the for the PDF, now think what will happen. So functionality will remain the same. So this is a practical diode. So it will take around zero point 0.7 volts to start working. So after V in has crossed this zero point 0.7 volts, the capacitor will start charging, and it will charge to the instantaneous value of the input. It will not reach the peak. Basically, that's what I'm talking about. It will not reach the peak. Okay. Now what will happen? So earlier you remember there was no discharge part. Now what will happen is, now it has reached the peak value, let's say. Now the input voltage is reducing. That means it will immediately turn off the diode 1. So now capacitor has to discharge. So can you see this discharge part? So capacitor C1 will discharge via R1. Now you see this little bit of bend over here. This is because of discharging time constant. Now any RC time constant is given by discharging time constant is given by tau d is equal to R1 into C1. So unless your discharging time constant is very high, this will almost be a straight line. But if it is not so carefully chosen, then you can have this small grouping of the output. Now again, I mean, the remaining part of the circuit remains the same. I mean, every functionality remains the same. Only thing is, by adding a resistor, there is a small deviation in that small fall in the output voltage. I mean, that is what we need to take care. It should be a state. It should be a flat, but it's slightly bending towards downwards. So this is what will happen if we connect a resistor at the output of a practical peak detector circuit. Now let us go to the theory. So adding a resistor R1 will lead to a little tapering for the output signal. So the functionality remains the same. It will detect the positive peak of the input. Note here the capacitor is charged with the time constant. Tau 1 is equal to RDF into C1, where RDF is basically the resistance of the diode under forward bias. So if you ever wondered, I mean, this output is instantaneously reacting to the input changes. That means what? When the capacitor is also charging, right? So when the capacitor is charging, the charging time constant is extremely small. And why so? Because during the charging time constant is given by C1 into the on-state resistance of this diode. And we know that on-state resistance of the diode is extremely small. That means when the diode is on, the on-state resistance, it's extremely very low value. So that means that is getting multiplied with C1. So that is what we have written over here. The capacitor is charged with a time constant RDF into C1, and it will discharge with another time constant R1 into C1. So basically, how to choose the value of R1 in this circuit? So how to decide on that? So limit the value between RDF and RDR basically. So RDR is the resistance of the diode when it is reverse bias, and RDF is the resistance of the diode when it is forward bias. So basically the diode becomes forward and reverse bias. So the value of R will have, let's say that, this RDF when the diode is forward bias and on state, it's around less than, few ohms. And when it is in the reverse bias, this RDR is basically tremendously in mega ohms. So this is what you need to take care. So basically, this is the requirement that the time constant tau discharging time constant should be 10 times more than the period. So here this signal can have a period. I mean, it's not periodic, but still we can define certain period. And the what we are saying is the discharging time constant should be at least 10 times greater than that period, so that it will take a long time for it to discharge. And this curve over here will be almost flat. Okay, I hope that you have understood why this bending is taking place. This is because the capacitor is discharging via a time constant which is dependent upon this components R1 and C1. Okay. Now because of resistor R1, the capacitor will get discharged, and whenever the diode is not conducting. So as I've told you earlier, I mean, let me open up that another PDF which I've opened up. Okay. Okay. Let me go back to that. Oh, what happened? Okay, fine. Let me go to the earlier circuit. where I have connected the register. Yeah, this is my circuit. So basically, the whenever the diode is off, the capacitor C1 will discharge via R1 register. So hence the discharging time constant is given by C1 into R1. Now, so for accurate measurement of peak values, instead of this normal, rectifier diode, we use super diode. Now, what is super diode? Super diode is the one whose it's basically an ideal diode whose cut-in voltage is zero. So, I think that's it for the one node part. Now we'll switch over for the LT Spice simulation and we'll check this out. Okay, so let me open up LT Spice. And now we will try to put this register back. Okay, so here the discharging time constant will be, if you can calculate, so 50k into 470 nano, right? Yeah, nano. So the time period is coming out to be 23.5 milliseconds. So that means the capacitor voltage will completely discharge at around 23.5 milliseconds. So here let us check what is the period. So this is my input signal. Here the period is going till 4. So you remember after the input, after 23.5 milliseconds, after then the capacitor voltage will completely discharge. This cannot happen over here. And whenever it does that, the next peak will come. Now in this case, it's looking like it's a sine wave basically. So it should detect the positive peak of it. Let us check what will happen. Okay. So in the PDF I have shown you that there is some slight tapering, and you can observe this over here also now. Okay. This was the slight tapering of the signals. Yeah. This is the way. If I can expand this. Okay. Y'all are comfortable viewing that now. Let me just take a magnifier or something. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, the capacitor, the output voltage is slightly falling due to the load resistor R1 because the capacitor is discharging slowly. Okay, so this is how a simple peak detector circuit with a practical diode and a resistor will look like. Okay, so what are the key points from this lecture? So key points are that we can develop a circuit, maybe very basic level of a simple peak detector, but it will not detect and it will not go to entirely peak values like we have seen over here. It doesn't go to the peak. Basically, it falls short by zero point 0.7 volts. And if you connect a resistor R1, this will become worse. So actually, this will be away from the peak value. So it's not good. So that's why we have to go for another circuit, which will take care of these problems. So I think that's it for this session. Next time we'll continue our discussion on the positive peak detector. So until then, have a good day and thank you.